Have you ever agreed to a social plan you absolutely hated just because you were scared of making things slightly awkward by saying no? Have you ever spent 3 hours drafting a single text message, showed it to 2 different friends for approval, and still felt a wave of pure panic when you hit send? Or maybe someone gave you a minor piece of constructive feedback at work, and your brain immediately convinced you that you were going to be fired, humiliated, and die homeless. If your entire life is navigated around avoiding the feeling of mild discomfort, congratulations, you're emotionally weak. Before we start, let's just destroy the 2 camps of advice that exist online, because both of them are wrong and one of them is actively making things worse. Camp 1. The Sigma Male No Emotion Pipeline. You've seen these guys. Somewhere between a Joe Rogan clip and a questionable Reddit thread, an entire generation of young men got convinced that emotional strength means not feeling anything, that real men are stoic, that you should be so mentally locked in that literally nothing affects you, that emotions are weakness and weakness is a character flaw, and character flaws mean you deserve to fail. Here's the issue. There's a very thin line between emotionally disciplined and emotionally suppressed guy who will eventually explode at something completely unrelated. That line is thinner than these guys think. Suppression is not strength. It's just damage that hasn't come out yet. And when it comes out, it really comes out, usually over something embarrassing like a parking spot. Camp 2. The Therapy Speak Emotional Validation Brigade. On the other end, you've got the people who want you to lean into every emotion. Hold space for your feelings. Sit with the discomfort. Let yourself feel it fully. And genuinely, there's something real in that advice. Emotions do need to be acknowledged. But there's a version of this camp that has turned emotional processing into a full-time job and an identity, when healing becomes the thing you're doing instead of the life you're supposed to be building. That's not growth. That's avoidance with better vocabulary. Both camps are wrong, because emotional weakness has nothing to do with how much you feel. Everyone feels things. Every tough, accomplished, competent person in human history has felt fear, rejection, humiliation, and grief. That's not the variable. The variable is what your emotions make you do. Let's define the actual problem, because most people don't. Emotional weakness is not having emotions. It's letting your emotions make your decisions. Every single one of us has a toddler living in our brain. His name is Kyle. Kyle is 3 years old, he is deeply irrational, and he is running entirely on feel-good signals. Kyle does not care about your long-term relationship. He does not care about your job, your reputation, or your future self. Kyle just wants to feel better right now. Maximum comfort, minimum discomfort, immediately. When you are emotionally weak, Kyle is in charge. You feel anxious? So Kyle cancels the plans and tells you you'll feel better after. You feel rejected? So Kyle sends the passive-aggressive text because at least that feels like doing something. You feel embarrassed? So Kyle engineers your entire life to avoid anything that could cause another embarrassing moment, which slowly shrinks your world to the size of your apartment. Kyle is very efficient at making you miserable. He's been practicing for years. Emotional strength is not making Kyle disappear. You cannot make Kyle disappear. Emotions are biological. They will happen. Emotional strength is making Kyle sit down, acknowledging what he's saying, and then letting the adult in the room make the actual decision. The emotion is data. It is not a command. That reframe alone is worth about 4 months of self-help content. Write it down. The single biggest mechanical difference between emotionally weak people and emotionally strong people is one thing. The gap between feeling an emotion and acting on it. Emotionally weak pattern. Feel something gives immediately act on it. Feel angry gives fire off the text. Feel scared gives cancel the thing. Feel rejected gives spiral for 3 days and make it lead to decisions you will regret. Emotionally strong pattern. Feel something gives pause gives decide. That pause is the gap, and the gap is the whole game. Now here's the actual science, because I know you need proof before you try anything. A neuroscientist named Jill Bolt Taylor who had a stroke and then wrote a book about it. So she's got credibility. Figured out that when an emotion is triggered, the physiological chemical response in your brain lasts approximately 90 seconds. 90 seconds of automatic biological reaction. After that, it's a choice to keep fueling it. You're choosing to stay in it. So here's your practical tool. When an emotion hits, any emotion, anger, anxiety, rejection, shame, your only job for the next 90 seconds is to not do the thing Kyle wants to do. Name the emotion out loud or in your head. I feel rejected right now, not I am rejected. That makes you the emotion. I feel it. That makes you the person having an experience. Then don't act, just wait. Let the 90 seconds pass. The peak will pass. Every single time you do this, you are literally building new neural pathways. You are physically rewiring your brain through repetition. That's not motivational poster energy. That is how neurology works. So next time your boss says something stupid, or you get a text that just says K, or someone doesn't invite you to something and you see it on Instagram, you've got 90 seconds. Use them. Don't let Kyle near the keyboard. Here's the observation that's going to sting, and I apologize in advance. Most emotionally weak people are emotionally weak because they have outsourced their entire emotional stability to external things. Their mood depends on whether their partner texted back quickly. Their self-worth is stored inside the opinions of people they don't even particularly like. Their entire day is decided by how a meeting went, or how a post performed, or whether some colleague acknowledged them in the hallway. That is not just vulnerability. That is giving the remote control to your emotional television to random strangers, and then being confused and outraged when they change the channel to something you hate. Emotional strength is an inside job, which I know sounds like a motivational bumper sticker, but it means something specific and practical. It means you need non-negotiable anchors, things in your life that stabilize you regardless of what's happening externally. Exercise is the boring answer that absolutely works every single time. You don't need to become a gym person or post about your macros. You just need to move enough that your body stops using low-level anxiety as its default idle state. 30 minutes. That's the bar. Clear it. Sleep is the other one. I know everyone says this. I know you've heard it. You cannot regulate your emotions on 5 hours of sleep. You are biologically not capable of it. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is supposed to be the adult in the room, straight up, underperforms when you're sleep deprived. So Kyle gets more power. Every night you don't sleep, you are voting for Kyle. And then a few things you actually enjoy doing that belong to you and only you. Not for Instagram, not to improve yourself, just things you like. That's your identity floor. The goal is not to feel amazing all the time. The goal is to build a floor that you land on when life gets bad, and it will get bad, instead of falling through it. Sleep, movement, a few things that are yours. That's the floor. Build it. This is the one nobody wants to hear, so I'll keep it efficient. You become emotionally stronger by doing emotionally uncomfortable things on purpose. Your brain is an evidence machine. It forms beliefs about what's dangerous based on what you've survived. Every time you avoid an uncomfortable thing, you are teaching your brain that the discomfort was a legitimate threat. Every time you cancel because you're anxious, you validate the anxiety. You are training yourself to be more fragile by protecting yourself from the things that would build you up. Here's a specific number, because we said we'd use specific numbers. Every time you avoid something scary, the threshold for what feels scary drops by roughly 10 to 15%. You avoid one conversation, the next one feels even harder. You cancel once, the next cancellation is even easier. The window of what feels safe shrinks a little each time, and you will be shocked, genuinely shocked, at how fast your world compresses if you let it. So flip it. Have the conversation you've been postponing. Do the presentation even though your voice shakes at the start. Go to the thing alone. Say the opinion at the meeting. Not because some guru told you to embrace the grind, but because your brain needs evidence that discomfort is survivable, and the only way to get that evidence is to go through the discomfort and not die. Every time you do it, you get a data point. Every data point is a brick. Stack enough bricks and you have something that doesn't fall apart when life pushes it. Affirmations don't build that. Vision boards don't build that. Proof builds that. Here's the summary because I respect your time. Emotional weakness is not a personality trait. It's a habit your brain developed because at some point, avoiding things worked. It kept you safe from rejection. It got you sympathy. It kept the discomfort manageable. But you are not a kid anymore. Kyle needs to sit down. You need to build a gap between feeling and acting. You need to build a floor that holds you when everything else is falling. And you need to collect evidence by doing uncomfortable things on purpose. That's the whole system. It's not complicated. It just requires you to do the opposite of what every scared instinct in your body is screaming at you to do. But hey, you made it through a 10-minute video about emotional weakness. That's practically therapy. Anyway, I'm collecting donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.